Early on in the cycle, DePIN was one of the hottest narratives in crypto. Projects launching like Aether, IONET, and Peak instantly hitting billions of dollars of valuation. DePIN as a sector has proven to make some insane returns, and for good reason. DePIN has the potential to decentralize and replace all the existing framework and services we rely on today, allowing us to earn passively just by using services we already use. So now that we know for certain that we should be paying attention, the question is, where is the opportunity? Well, today I'll be telling you about the next big DePIN project, but I'm also giving you the chance to get in at rock bottom prices. And when I say rock bottom prices, I literally mean it. This is like, I have invested in KOII, and we're going to talk about KOII today. You're going to meet Alex, the founder of KOII as well. And I'll tell you guys that the valuation that you're going to get at on Pay Network is cheaper than I did investing in the company a long time ago. So again, another LCO being brought to you by Pay Network by one of the most brilliant development teams I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. And really the best part is if KOII catches up to one of its closest competitors like Peak, for example, which is sitting currently over a $2 billion FTV, it's a 90x from where this LCO currently presents itself. So this is a huge opportunity for you guys. I'm excited to bring it to you, happy to bring it to you. And let's go meet Alex and learn more about KOII. Okay, Al, thanks for coming on. Tell us, what is KOII for those who don't know?
KOII is Cloud 2. So this is the new vision of the internet. Back in the 90s, everybody had servers in their garages. So that's how Google and Facebook and a lot of these companies started. In the early 2000s, we moved them all out of the office and back into the data center. That led to the cloud as we know it today. And KOII is the next step in this revolution, which takes the cloud back to your home computer. Right now, we've got almost 100,000 home computers on the network, and we're hosting everything from AI to search engines and social.
Okay, cool. So it's layer one blockchain, right? And from what I understand, it was, how did you guys build it initially?
So we started out actually building all the smart contracting infrastructure on Arweave. And then we kind of saw some limitations of doing that. We wanted our own blockchain. So we forked Solana back in 2021. We've had the testnet going for about 2 years since then, and everything's running pretty smoothly.
Okay, so you forked Solana to build the infrastructure for the blockchain. Like, what did you need to do and re-engineer on the Solana blockchain to make it into this cloud 2.0 kind of infrastructure?
Yeah, so the Solana fork that we have, we call it K2. It's been running for about 2 years. It's got about 7 million transactions a day. One of the things that happens on Solana, though, part of the reason it keeps crashing is that they try to do everything on the blockchain layer. And so one of the big advantages of KOII is we have this home computing network, so we can run everything on the edge devices. And this actually saves a lot of bandwidth. It means the blockchain is a lot more efficient. And so actually what we've done is we increased the rent cost and the gas fees on the blockchain layer, but we run everything on the edge. So we re-architected everything to run at the edge of the network, which makes it a lot more efficient. And it means that people with laptops and phones even can participate.
Nice. And it's like, so who are the customers of the KOII network? Like, who will be using it?
So right now we're catering mostly to developers and hackers. They're kind of people who want to build something really big and don't want to have to sell their company. So if you look at like YouTube or Instagram or WhatsApp, a lot of these companies kind of reach a scaling point and then they have this huge hosting cost. So YouTube, when they got acquired by Google, their hosting cost was something like 25 million a month, which if you can imagine, it's really hard to get that kind of money out of VCs. And it's also really, really hard to actually make that kind of revenue at an early stage. So if you want to build something really big, especially an AI project or something that's going to change the world and get billions of users, you have this huge hosting problem. And so on KOII, you get to pay with your own token. So you can issue your token directly to node operators. They give you their computers, they get your token, and you get to access all of this resource without having to actually sell your soul to a VC.
Nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. And tell us so far about the traction that you guys have today.
So this year we started onboarding node operators. So we were at about 1,000 nodes at Christmas. We're at almost 98,000 now. Wow. And it's been growing really, really rapidly. We have this really awesome referral program so people can invite their friends and they get some tokens for kind of subsidizing the marketing. Because again, we're all about the community side of these things. So as opposed to just paying a bunch of marketing agencies, we give it right back to the users. That's been really fun. And then about 3 or 4 months ago, we really started the developer activations. So now we're running a global hackathon series called KOII Global. I'm actually in Bangalore in India at the moment where we're doing a huge activation around India Blockchain Week. And we just signed deals with like 20 different Indian universities this week. We also have a whole bunch of university networks across Europe and also in North America. And we're looking at South America as well next year.
Sick. So where do you imagine KOII being in the next 5 to 10 years? Like what does KOII look like?
So we're looking at right now, it's not about just laptops. We really want to get phones on board as well. That's probably going to be mid next year. But there's also all these other devices that people have that they don't use very much. So a lot of people have smart TVs, they have gaming systems. All of these can also be used. And so you go to bed at night and you've got like a dozen devices in your house that you're not using, and they could all be making you money and also supporting all these founders. The really cool thing about this is like kind of this is the Bitcoin dream all over again, right?
Yeah.
You can take home devices that you have, you can mine all these new tokens, and then if one of these projects pops, it's going to pay all your bills for the next 20 years. And so it lets everybody get in at the early stages of this stuff. And then you're part of like this kind of launchpad ecosystem where you're mining all these new tokens. And if these founders get enough resources, they can do really big things, especially when it comes to AI and search engines. There's just like a ton that you can do if you have access to all these resources. The other really, really cool thing about this, because these are edge devices and there's actual people behind them, you can also get access to social media accounts, trading accounts, kind of all kinds of data that you can get off the internet, which is kind of what Grass is doing, but they don't have the compute infrastructure. Whereas what we do at KOII is we really specialize in taking all that data access and then actually adding compute layers on top of it, so you can do a lot of really amazing things. And that's really where the rail or the rubber hits the road. That's where we can do a lot more.
So you mentioned Grass. Would you say that Grass is maybe one of the biggest competitors? And if so, how are you different?
So we don't really think of Grass as a competitor. They're more like a data marketplace. Okay. If anything, CoinNodes can mine Grass tokens, which is pretty cool. So we see most of the DePIN landscape as things that you can actually get with KOII tokens. And so what we plan to do next year actually is give a lot of bounties out for people who integrate those into the CoinNode. We actually have teams that are doing Bitcoin mining pools, Monero mining pools, and all kinds of stuff like that as well. So you get this KOII token, and that gives you access to the ecosystem, because that's how you pay your gas fees so that you can actually access the network. And then once you've got a couple KOII, you can actually run the node for free because of the rent exemption model. And so that means is you basically don't have to pay any gas fees once you have about $100 of KOII. And that means that your devices are monetizing forever, and you get to mine all these new tokens.
Wow. So for those watching this, like how do they get involved with KOII? What can they do?
It takes about 5 minutes. You go to our website, you click the download button, and then 2 or 3 minutes later, you're actually up and running. And then you get to choose the tasks that you run, which is a really cool part. So
and that can be on laptop, desktop, anything?
Yeah, right now only on PCs. So any laptop that you have, we spent a lot of time this year making it compatible with every different operating system and every type of laptop. So everything that you can do on your computer, that's all running now. And then next year, we'll have mobile devices coming as well as game systems. And we're looking at making a little Chrome stick so that you can stick it in the back of your smart TV even.
Oh, wow. Nice. Mac as well?
Yep. Mac, Windows, Linux, pretty much every computer.
Okay. So a lot of people think about layer one blockchains, kind of like Solana, Ethereum, Near protocol, whatever, and people building dApps on top of that. Can you explain a little bit about how KOII, is similar but different from these kind of networks?
So I used to run a crypto school for about 4 years, from like 2016 to 2020. I spent a lot of time doing kind of research on all the different DePINs that were coming out, and we taught a lot of courses in Solidity. And one of the main things that everybody asked is, especially for a computer science student who's just finished learning for like 4 years how to actually build web apps, you tell them they got to learn Solidity now. That's a new software language, and it's like a lot of hard work, and they have to go research this new thing. So what we do with KOII is you can write programs in any different software language that you want from like the traditional world. You can take all those existing libraries, and then you can just run them on lots of people's laptops for free. And that's the really powerful part. So we take all the expertise that we've developed over the last like 25 years of the internet, and then we put that to all these laptops and edge devices, and we make it like basically free to host all these apps. And
so because you had forked Solana, does that mean that KOII is similar to Solana in the way that, like, could you implement FireDancer, for example, and could people use the Solana tokens on KOII, for example?
Yeah, so we have a bridge with Allbridge. So any tokens on the Solana ecosystem, Aptos, Sui, or Ethereum will all be able to be bridged over onto KOII. So you can use those incentives. So we're actually going out and doing a lot of BD with existing projects that have their own tokens, which is part of why we really want to get the mainnet out. So we've been building this for about 3 years in the R&D phase. And then as soon as mainnet goes live, the next phase is onboarding all these tokens onto KOII so that they can pay for compute. And that actually saves them a lot of money, because right now, most of the way this works is there's a lot of other DePINs that do computing out there, but they usually have you pay in their own token. So if you look at like a Chasse or Ionet or Render, you have to sell your token to buy their tokens so that you can pay for computing. We take the opposite approach. We think the node operators want to earn all these different tokens. And so we want them to bridge their token over to KOII, which means they never have to sell it, and their hosting cost becomes more of like a community building exercise. So it turns hosting into an opportunity to give an airdrop to your most loyal fans, which is a very different way of approaching this. But yeah, as far as the Solana stuff goes, because of the way that we've structured this, we're able to actually download all the latest updates from Solana. So every time that they make a security update, KOII gets upgraded as well. And that means we've got one of the fastest blockchains in the world, and it's also incredibly secure. and it's built for like all these high volume token transactions, which means that for Koi, it's actually like overpowered a little bit. And we're probably never going to actually hit the saturation point. So we have capacity for billions of devices right now. And I think within a year or two, Solana is going to give us even more great, amazing technology, and then we'll be able to keep upgrading.
Nice. So you're doing, you're doing a public sale coming up soon on paid, and first chance or another chance for community to get involved. People are looking, at the market and saying like, could this potentially be the next, Solana or Chainlink or whatever? People are looking at where to park capital. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and the team behind KOII. I think it's really important to invest in founders.
Yeah, so we take an interesting approach on this. Most of our team are just hardcore hackers. So we've got about like 15 really amazing developers. I myself come from a robotics background. I built a DePIN back in like 2015, even before crypto. And so I was building a mesh Wi-Fi grid back then, which is how I got into the crypto scene. So I've been researching how to do this for ages. And that's how kind of how we put all the pieces together. We also have on our team a whole bunch of like very experienced people who've done a lot of things in the Ethereum ecosystem. And so they've kind of seen the limitations of smart contracts. And that's how we designed a lot of the developer tools that we put together. And on the marketing and go-to-market side, we have some really amazing kind of growth hacker mindset people. So we've got between us, I think about 20 years of accelerator experience, like actually running and coaching projects. And then Melvis, one of our kind of key guys, just used to run the market making program at OKX. So he's extremely experienced in the token launch process. And our goal next year is to launch about 1,000 tokens on top of KOII, which means anybody who's running the KOII node is going to get full access to all of those, and you get to mine them first with your tokens.
Yeah, exactly. So, the layer one space, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I just want you to kind of hammer the point home. Layer one space is incredibly difficult to compete. I think right now from the retail side, we see things, like Ethereum has traction. It's the OG smart contract platform. We have Solana, shitcoin network of the world. SUI seems to be getting a lot of attention right now. I think it's going to be, something that really does well in this next bull run. How does KOII become significant and relevant in 2025?
So we take the approach to this that like we don't need more L1s. We actually need more composable tools for developers. So KOII acts more like a layer 2 on any network. So if you're a layer 2, we're a layer 3. If you're a layer 3, we're a layer 4. And it kind of rolls back up into all those chains. So the big advantage of this for developers is if you started building something on Solana 2 years ago, you can wrap your token over to KOII and you can take advantage of all these great developer tools to build things faster and at lower cost. And we're doing the same thing with Aptos, SUI, and a whole bunch of other networks. Actually, a few of our ecosystem projects like Immutable Labs are building all of these bridges so that you can actually just leave your tokens on the host chain, and then you can issue rewards on KOII in like what we call a compute DAO. And so there's all these kind of like aggregate tokens where there's a treasury that's on all these different chains, and you're receiving one token that kind of represents all of them. So you can kind of invest in an index of different tokens by running the node.
Cool. That was one. Are there any other exciting dApps being built on KOII right now that you can think of?
One that's pretty cool is Modi.bio. So you can get a decentralized link tree that comes with a DID under the hood. That's actually how we do a lot of our airdrops and things like that through the network. But it's a fully decentralized app that runs on the edge devices. And so you can actually host this website on your computer. We've also got a whole bunch of things coming out in the gaming sector, kind of around that as well. Recently had somebody start working on sharding Minecraft to get it to run on all these nodes, which is pretty cool. And what this does is kind of like in the gaming sector especially, it's kind of like taking LAN and extending it to all these devices, because you never have some company at the middle that's extracting value. And so this is really great for decentralized gaming. So we've been doing a lot of stuff in that area. On the AI side, we've also got a lot of really cool applications. In the AI world right now, what ends up happening usually is somebody goes out and buys a whole bunch of training data, and then they buy a bunch of computing, and then they actually have to try and sell a product. And that's kind of a long road to launch for most of these companies. On KOII, what you can do instead is you can run a model on tons of people's computers for free, basically. And if the token does well, then everybody gets rewarded. And the token doesn't do well, then it's kind of like it's a fun project and kind of a research idea. Right. So we've had a whole bunch of those happening. We have templates with Facebook's Llama algorithm, which is like their next best LLM model. It's kind of like ChatGPT. And so that runs on all the devices now. We're able to do some pretty cool stuff with Twitter bots and things like that as well, which is kind of interesting. So you can imagine you've got like 80,000 Twitter bots that are actually running on people's home computers. So it's like kind of like you're automating your own account as opposed to it being as opposed to it being an actual bot. It's actually just a person automating their account, which is very powerful.
That is
and then
cool.
The other one that I mentioned earlier is trading bots in kind of the same area. So you can actually run all these different algorithms within the KOII node, and then you're getting access to all these tools that you can use for your own needs as well. So even if you're not getting incentivized for doing something, you can actually run all these different programs on your computer using KOII. So it's kind of like an app store for these kinds of applications.
Now, everything, obviously you guys have a really solid team, awesome engineers, AAA, but it's a layer one. And people are going to want to know, like, shit coins? What kind of shit coins? Is there an ecosystem that can people expect meme coins to come on Koi? I know that's not your primary concern, but like it is an attention driver.
Yeah, so we started building out what's called mimetic AI. So one of our developers actually got a prize at the Bangkok ETH Global event.
Nice.
And basically what mimetic does is it harnesses all of the data that our team has access to, all of our community members, and it takes all of that and then actually indexes it and builds a meme AI LLM. So you can ask it questions. And so their first prototype of this went out about 3 weeks ago, and now it's kind of in development. It's quickly growing. What we're hoping to use this for is to give people the ability to ask the LLM to launch a meme coin on Koi. Kind of like the whole Goatsumus Maximus thing, but with a little bit more firepower to let individuals be individuals and like launch their own product that resonates with their community. And then the cool thing, of course, is that these AI meme coins live on all these devices, so they have no fixed costs. So there's no sell pressure at all against these tokens. They're just kind of they're running continuously on all these devices and then going out to actually pump their own price, which is kind of cool. And I think we're going to see how that pans out. Personally, it's not my favorite application of the product, but I think it has a lot of legs.
It sounds like it. Okay, Al. Well, that's all. Thanks for updating everybody on what Koi is. I'm excited, and if you guys don't know, I'm an investor and advisor for Koi as well. And Al, I guess real quick, you can just tell people you were on the show Crypto Nights. You can't tell people the outcome of that, but what was that experience like?
It was pretty cool. They flew us all out to Kuala Lumpur, and we did about a week or so of recording. Got to meet a lot of other really like-minded, very hardworking people who are also in this industry and trying to make change. And it's really exciting to see the show coming together, I think, as a focal point for the people who are trying to revolutionize the industry a bit. Because crypto for a long time has been filled with kind of scams and different shitcoins launching and things like that. And it seems that there's a lot of people building the next wave, which hopefully is what we're going to see this bull cycle.
I agree. Cool. Thanks, Al. Thanks so much for stopping by. See you later.
Awesome. Thanks.